Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Kai Senpai. It's a beautiful day here in California. I don't know how it is in Japan. I didn't check the weather yet. Why don't we check right now? I just want to see how you guys are doing. See if it's getting warm over there yet. It's getting cold over here in California, to be honest, compared to what it was a few weeks ago when it got up to like 30 or something degrees. Like it was ridiculous, global warming, as they say. So anyway, this 大丈夫ですかね、英語で話して。だってみんな英語で喋りたいでしょ。英語喋れるようになりたいでしょ。じゃあ、これから英語でおしゃべりしましょう。大丈夫ですかね。じゃあ、英語で話します。So, guys, we're going to be talking about some important things that are happening around the world. And I don't know if you guys know, I don't even know, because I'm not really an expert, but what we're going to do is we're going to watch some things and we're going to see if we can learn what's going on. And one of the stories that I found that I think will be interesting for everybody is we're going to be talking about the Japanese yen, I believe. And now I don't know anything about it. You guys probably know more about the yen than I do, but let's see here. I need to sign into my thing here. But yeah, we're gonna watch a story and then we're gonna see what happens when we think in English. I hope that makes sense for everybody because I know you guys are used to thinking in Japanese about things that are Japanese, right? But we're gonna be thinking about things that you already know, but in a English mode. You know what I mean? It's like your brain has like two modes and one of them will be one that you're familiar with. The other one is going to be something you're not familiar with, but like, you know what? You got to do it because these are the things we got to talk about. The type of things that we're going to be talking about when, you finally become fluent in English. It's like, all right, so what's going on? Well, let's verify what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, let us actually see what is happening according to, reporting. Does that make sense? News, if that makes sense. I don't know if it's actual news or not, but we're going to start watching right now. Now, I do want to warn everybody, I don't exactly see my chat. And the reason why I don't see my chat is it seems I can't sign in. And if I can, I'll do it. But if I can't, then I'm just gonna fly blind, basically. I think, not exactly sure. There's so many different ways to do this. So it's just kind of like, let's just see what happens here. Oh, no, it didn't work. So let us forget about that. And we're just gonna fly blind because you know what? You guys know that I do want your feedback. I'm not going to lie, but what are you going to do when you're dealing with live streaming and you're in the thick of it and things are happening real time, right? Like you actually have to figure this stuff out. So yeah, now of course, like I said, I do want to hear from you guys, but the chat, the chat window is not popping up. So, what are you going to do, right? So let's get into it. And let me just pull up that. There we go. And, oh wait, I don't need to sign in. I can just you guys can respond if you need to. Okay. I don't think okay, no, we're good. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch into this, okay? I found this video the other day. So we're going to watch, and if things pop up, then we're going to talk about it as it happens, all right?
This is the perfect pair for your iPhone.
After we skip this ad.
3 different chargers. So when I travel, I don't
Okay, cool. I haven't seen all this video yet, but let's listen.
Looking where it really matters. Every headline screams.
And also, too, if you notice, I'll start at the beginning, but this is the voice, at least, is an actual human voice. This particular channel, the infographic show, if you haven't checked it out already, go ahead and check it out because they have a lot of informational videos and cute little animations. But the guy's voice he's an actual human. I've seen other videos where they show his face. And one thing that I am definitely not into is AI voices. So like, it's really good that, he's narrating it and it's kind of like annoying. I'm not going to lie. The way he talks in a little bit, just a little bit, like it's, that presentation voice that he's got. But anyway, it's clear to understand. So let's listen and see if we can understand what's going on. All right, here we go.
The world is on fire and nobody is looking where it really matters. Every headline screams about the Middle East, chaos, and global fear. The media wants you glued to the Strait of Hormuz and the rising price of oil. But it's a lie, a distraction. The real story is in Japan. In 2024, after 17 years, the planet's biggest creditor ended its era of free money. The engine of the global economy is sputtering in Tokyo. And if you have a mortgage, a savings account, or a 401k, you're in the crosshairs. Chapter 1, the demographic black hole.
So, did you guys know that there's a problem with the Japanese money system? I did not know, or did I know? Anyway, let's watch, okay?
On the surface, Japan looks like it's already living in the future, a place where tech giants dominate the world stage. Robots share the streets with people. AI predicts what'll come next. An entire city.
Are there robots in Japan yet? I've seen robot kind of like food delivery, like in LA and stuff, but like I don't remember actually seeing robots in Japan. But I haven't been to Japan in 2 years. So if there's robots there, please let me know. That would be kind of interesting. I'm not going to lie. Because seriously, like robots in Japan, that's like news to me. Like, what? Have I seen a picture of that? Anyway, talk about like news, right? Okay, let's get back to it.
Run smarter, cleaner, and faster than anywhere else. But look past the distractions, dim the neon signs, forget the shiny gadgets. Focus instead on the finances, the numbers. That's where Japan's deepest, darkest, most disturbing secrets lie. The demographic death spiral. Because in 2026, Japan's population officially sits at approximately 122.6 million people.
That's a lot of people.
Sound like a lot, but in 2010, it was even higher, 128 million to be precise. Since the late 2000s, Japan has been on a steady, unrelenting decline. It's losing around 500,000 people from its population every single year. That's like the city of Atlanta vanishing every 12 months. To make
is that true? Because when I was living in Japan in about 2010, so it's lost like 6 million people or something like that in the last 10 years. Oh my gosh. That's a lot, guys. Whoa.
There's worse. Japan also has the highest proportion of elderly citizens anywhere in the world. In 2014, close to 26% of the population was over 65. By 2022, that increased to more than 29%. The population is getting older while the birth rate is hitting its lowest level in more than a century. Fewer and fewer people are choosing to start families. Birth rates are falling. Meanwhile, the number of people of working age keeps shrinking. It's reached the point where now there are 2 deaths in Japan for every birth. That is a problem for a lot of reasons, especially for the economy. Every year that these trends continue, Japan's tax base disappears bit by bit. With more retirees, fewer families, and fewer people paying taxes, Japan's financial foundations are starting to crack. But the Bank of Japan saw this problem coming, and they acted in a way that was desperate, dramatic, unprecedented. They made money free. Instead of raising interest rates to fight the problem, they kept them at zero. At times, they went below zero. At the same time, trillions of yen were pumped into the system. The Bank of Japan became one of the biggest buyers of its own stocks. In effect, it socialized its stock market just to keep the lights on. It was a gamble, one with a massive amount of risk attached. No other central bank of any major developed nation around the world operated the same way as Japan's. But somehow the gamble paid off, at least for a little while. People and businesses didn't have to worry about paying back much more than they'd originally borrowed. Loans became almost irresistible. Families took them. Businesses took them. Everyone wanted in. Why wouldn't they? It was
So, is this true? Has anybody taken a loan like in Japan? Because like I have not taken a loan in Japan, so I don't really know what's going on. But 0% interest. It does kind of sound like free money in a sense, but like, has anybody actually taken advantage of this, or is this like just a bunch of I don't know, statistics? Let me know, because if you have, I'm interested in hearing like what it's like to get a big loan like that.
like free money. Wall Street hedge funds and investment firms took advantage too, but on a much bigger scale. They realized they could borrow huge amounts of the Japanese yen at 0% interest and convert all that cash.
Oh man, we got to watch ads on this. Well, hey, this is live stream, right? So, but yeah, one day. Hey, Nissy, what's up? Oh, we can't stay around for that. That'd be way too much. But hey, Desi, what's up? We're learning about what's happening in Japan today, because I don't know. I haven't been following the news. So let us get through this little ad here, and there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get premium. Oh, wait. Have you guys not been updating on the visuals here? Oh my gosh. This is one thing about this, how do you say, uh OBS Studio. It's kind of laggy, isn't it? You know, because it's like it's only showing you guys something. Oh man. Anyway, let's switch it back. Hopefully you guys are following this story. Here we go.
Forced to take action. In the US, rates still sit at 3.75%. It's a similar story in the UK and across Europe. But elsewhere, the pressure is building. Interest rates passed the 4% mark in Australia, 5% in India, and even close to 7% in places like Mexico and South Africa. And in the middle of all of this, Japan was trapped. On the one hand, it could raise rates but basically bankrupt its own government. It carries the highest debt to GDP ratio of any nation in the entire developed world. Or it could keep rates at 0%, but sacrifice the value of its currency in the process. Neither of these options was attractive. But
So does anybody here understand money? Because especially interest rates, because this is where everything gets really confusing for me. Like I don't understand what's going on. All I know is like when I go to Japan and I switch my money into yen, right? There's an exchange rate. So I know something's up, and I know that the exchange rate has kind of changed in the past few days. So like I don't understand how loans or anything has to do with this, but if you understand math, let me know.
Japan had to pick one. It decided to persist with its 0% rate. And the results have been catastrophic. The yen has effectively gone into free fall. 5 years ago, in 2021, the yen was sitting at less than 110 to the dollar, but by late 2022, it was approaching 150. In April 2026, it's close to the 160 mark, hovering near its weakest point in decades. In just a few years, the Japanese currency has lost more than 30% of its value. For businesses, families, workers, it was devastating. Before they knew what hit them, salaries and savings were slashed. The money they had spent years earning was suddenly worth far less than it had been just a few years ago. It's just one of the ways the Japanese public has suffered. The cost to import goods to the country has also skyrocketed, leading to higher prices for numerous products and services. The more the Bank of Japan waited, the worse the situation would become. The yen would continue to spiral. They couldn't allow their own national currency to become worthless. They had to act. So, in a state of panic,
Oh my gosh, I really do have to get premium, don't I? Bummer. Sorry guys. I didn't think too far ahead. Cuz like, if you're going to do live stream, it's kind of like, you got to think this through, right? Uh-oh. Man, it stalled again. I swear to God. Let me find it. Oh, it's right over here. Yeah, this whole money thing, like I swear I can watch this. I'm like watching this in English and I still don't really understand how all the money works. Maybe you guys are more invested than I am, but like seriously, like I just kind of like still watch this and I'm kind of like, okay. Is that
continuing into 2026, that all changed. The Widowmaker paid off. Trillions of dollars borrowed at nearly 0% in Japan have been flowing around the world, and now they're starting to seep away. The hedge funds and investors who were on the right side of the bet are making a fortune. Meanwhile, banks and firms that borrowed yen at 0% and poured it into risk assets or treasuries are scrambling to cash out while they still can. But while the top gets richer, the bottom pays the price. Everyday people, families, workers, and those who had no hand in the gamble are the ones footing the bill. Chapter 3. The Great Repatriation. This is the final nail in the coffin, the part that the media won't explain. They don't even want people to know about it until it's already too late. An event that is both catastrophic and almost invisible. A crash you won't see coming, but one that will shape the economic future of not just Japan, but the United States and dozens of other countries around the world. A shockwave that could be felt for years, even generations. The repatriation of the yen. The wealthiest and most important Japanese investors, including mega banks, pension funds, and insurance companies, are some of the biggest foreign holders of American debt. As a nation, Japan owns a whopping $1.2 trillion in United States treasuries. To put such an astronomical figure into perspective, $1.2 trillion is enough to fund the entire U.S. military for around 18 months. It's enough to end world hunger several times over. It is an insane amount of money, or to be more exact, an insane amount of American debt, all held in the hands of a single nation in a different continent. For years, it made sense for Japan's institutions to hold that debt. The Japanese Government Pension Investment Fund, or GPIF, is the world's biggest pension fund and has historically held on to a massive amount of foreign bonds. U.S. Treasuries made up 51% of its foreign bond portfolio in March 2025. There was a logic to that decision. U.S. bonds paid interest, while Japanese ones paid nothing. But now that logic is being washed away by the rising tide of Japan's interest rates. As those rates draw closer to 1% and the 10-year Japanese government bond yield surges past 2%, the math has been flipped. Why should a Japanese institution or pension fund like the GPIF continue to run the risk of holding America's debt while it could invest in its own government bonds instead? These companies, these banks, these pension funds no longer have the same incentive to chase returns abroad. Domestic investments finally pay off, and it doesn't take a financial genius to see the obvious. It is time to sell. We found data showing a quiet but growing exodus. Japan is cashing out. It's selling off its assets, dumping U.S. Treasury holdings at a record rate. That doesn't mean the entire $1.2 trillion will disappear overnight, but billions are starting to evaporate, and those billions can quickly turn into tens or hundreds of billions as the weeks go by. The ripples won't just stay in Japan. They'll spread across markets, across borders, across the Pacific. Because when the biggest buyer of U.S. debt bows out, who steps in to fill the void? The simple answer is no one, at least not at first. To attract new buyers and convince the world to absorb the debt, the Federal Reserve will be forced to act. Rates will have to go up, and when that happens, everything else is affected. Mortgage rates climb, credit card interest rates soar. You're suddenly faced with spiraling costs. Everything becomes more expensive. Spending power diminishes and disposable income vanishes. Meanwhile, the stock market starts to bleed. Government bonds are far more attractive than risky bets like tech stocks. Money begins to move fast. For years, the yen carry trade was the grease in the wheels of the entire global financial machine. It kept everything running smoothly. It allowed those Wall Street hedge funds to borrow billions and pump it all into big businesses across America and beyond. Now those same funds are seeing their borrowing costs explode. They're backed into a corner, and they're running out of options. They're forced to sell their most profitable positions. Shares in companies like Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, they're all dumped just to cover spiraling yen debts. This is the invisible crash. It doesn't dominate the headlines. It doesn't involve mass panic at the New York Stock Exchange or vast crowds of people protesting in the streets. It happens quietly in the background, and the world has no idea. Chapter 4, The Sovereign Debt Trap.
Well, okay, so is everybody understanding what's going on? I barely do. And it feels like it's more like these big corporations and governments that are doing something, and that we as like people don't really have a choice or many choice. I don't know what's going on. I hope, one of the crazy thing about money and numbers is like I can watch this and I speak English, right? But like I really don't get what's going on in a sense, because like I just fundamentally don't understand how institutions move money back and forth. I mean, maybe I should learn it, but like it just kind of seems so complicated, right? Jeez. Here we go. Oh, get back to it.
It's been building toward for nearly 20 years. And at the center of it all is Japan. It's pinned between two outcomes, both dangerous, both unavoidable. It is the ultimate sovereign debt trap. It either keeps interest rates low and protects its debt, but watches its currency collapse and its country starve, or it raises rates and temporarily saves its economy, but it sets its own national debt on fire, as well as detonating the entire global bond market. There is no out, no alternative option, no last-ditch magical solution. The fuse was lit a long time ago, and now it's reached the powder keg. The yen is just the first domino to fall, but it won't be the last. The dollar is next, and when that begins, everything changes, which leads to a question the world has quietly been avoiding. What if the U.S. economy crashes?
Well, now
Yeah, so
that
DSCR
you
loan. So
see,
this is an interesting loan type.
yeah, loans, right? But I think that's exactly what I'm talking about here. Is that like the news that you guys see, is always like Japan centric, right? Like obviously, but I'm pretty sure that video that we just saw was more kind of like explaining how the Japanese yen crisis is bad for Japan. I think that's what that news was saying. So at the end of the day, like maybe it's good for the Japanese economy, what's happening right now, like selling all the debt or whatever. But then again, I don't really know. And even thinking in numbers for me, like in English is hard enough. でも日本語で考えても混乱しますね。数字の問題って。何々パーセントって言うんだっけ？あら、数字の話あまりしないよね。日本語で。だから難しいですね。あらあらあら。でもどうだろうね。まあ経済的な問題なんですけれども、英語で考えても混乱しますか？どうですかね。まあ、I guess that's the whole point is to kind of like start to think about these things as there's a lot of information out there. And if you guys just keep thinking in Japanese, well, you're going to get a pretty limited kind of worldview, right? But if you get out there and start watching more videos in English, you get a different vantage point. So, yeah, I don't know what you guys are thinking about the economy these days. And honestly, it's like one of the last things that I kind of want to talk about, but like it's the news. It's happening. So if you want to hear more news, if you want to hear more about what's going on in the world, please leave a note somewhere so I can see it so that I know that this is the kind of thing that you want to talk about. Maybe there's another kind of news story that you'd rather see. I don't know what exactly would be newsworthy because the way you guys think is not the same way that I think, you know, because when I look at news, I'm looking at space news and science news more often. And then, yeah, I see the political stuff as well. But, oh yeah, and I watch tech news as well. So I don't know what you guys want to talk about. See, like the latest Apple news. Like I'm watching the Apple news because I'm kind of interested in those glasses because for the app, I want to be able to do something. I might as well show you guys. I mean, it's not a big deal, but like as you can see, like these letters, right? I want to be able to put like the letters into the view, you know what I mean? And it's doable with spatial computing. It's totally doable. So like I'm kind of like really keeping my eye on that because Apple Vision Pro obviously is a little more like in your head kind of thing, like isolating yourself from other people. Where glasses, you still feel kind of like normal, right? But anyway, that's what I want to do. That's one of the big things that I want to do is to be able to have those kind of like letters just floating in your field of vision or whatever. So I'm kind of watching the Apple news just to see what's going on. But there's so many news stories that it's kind of like, well, what is the thing that you guys want to talk about? So please let me know, because it's also interesting just to talk about Japan in general. If you guys don't do that enough, you ought to, because, you know, explaining your own country to people is kind of one of the first stories that you do when you speak English. So let's take oh wait, hold on. I got this video right here, but gotta get it fresh. All right, let's get this fresh. All right, let's take a look at this. Really, it's not exactly news, but it might be. Is that real? That looks real. Oh, it's not even news. It's just a bunch of pretty shots, I guess, of Japan in 8K. Not a bad idea, but 8K, you know, is too it's too much resolution. I guess the human eye is good with 4K, so 8K is just like, well, unless you're doing like a big projection onto a wall or something like that. But yeah, beautiful stuff, not gonna lie. I have not been up the Skytree yet. My gosh. I think I went to the mall. Gotta do that one day. Maybe in the fall. When you look at Japan like this, it looks pretty beautiful, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. Because I hear a lot of you, complain about living in Japan and working too much or whatever. But this looks gorgeous. Although, I don't like going to the east side of the city too much, Tokyo. I like the west side. Me, personally, I think one of the things that makes these videos look so dynamic is the HD. They're getting kind of like nighttime exposures with the lights, but then there's still kind of like enough sunshine coming in through sunset to kind of like give that like light blue hue, you know what I mean? Wow. How many people work there? How many people are taking a smoke break from their cubicle job? I would say that's not Shinjuku. I think that's more like Nihonbashi or something, right? It's been a while since I've been to Japan, so... Oh my. Now that looks like Shibuya. Or maybe it's not. Or maybe it is. Yeah. Oh, the city's crazy. Like, I mean, it's almost like beyond description, like maybe the movie Blade Runner kind of gives you a sense of like what it's kind of like, but just depending on what part you go to and stuff, like it's just beyond even what this video shows, when you're actually walking around in it, I don't think that's Shibuya. Or maybe it is. Gosh, I can't tell. Because like in, Tokyo, there's like 5 different downtowns, or more like 8 probably if you really compared it to anything in America, right? Like downtown Long Beach, downtown San Francisco, downtown San Diego. Like imagine all the downtowns all in one like cramped little, plane next to the ocean. So yeah, it's crazy. Did it pause again? I swear to God, this whole OBS thing is getting a little ridiculous. So yeah, I thought this was going to be news, but it's nothing but like drone shots going around in circles. So that's not much news. So we're going to X out of that, but still beautiful, right? Japan. I swear, like more of you need to be making content about Japan, because when I look at the kinds of things that pop up about Japan, they're always like explained by some gaijin. You know what I mean? Like here. Let's watch this. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I don't know if this is news or not, but check this out. Because again, I think, it sounds like it at least. なんか外人に聞こえるんだけどね。じゃあこれを これ、まあ、ニュースですね。はい。
There's a kind of anime Japan literally cannot make anymore. Not won't, can't. And these types of
Can't.
anime
アメリカ人に聞こえ
will
る。
never be made ever again.
Nice montage.
The ominous ambiance, the ethereal scenery, the beautiful grotesque violence is something that Japan cannot produce in the same capacity. These shows were born in a window of time when studios had too much freedom, too little oversight, and just enough madness. And then one day, they disappeared. So there's just one thing I gotta know. What the hell happened to them? What killed this breed of anime? What changed so drastically that something this bold, this strange, this specific just stopped being made? Why do they feel like relics from another dimension? First, we need to figure out what these shows even were. And by the end of this, not only will you know exactly what...
Well, hey, Yamada-san. How do I think about Japanese society? Well, I mean, just like any society, right? There's the beautiful parts, and then there's the embarrassing parts, you know, like the parts that need fixed. And I don't want to say too much just because like I'm not an expert by any means, and I think that a lot of Japanese people should kind of promote the good parts more, you know what I mean? Because like even like let's say like the animation, the art, which is, you know, one of Japan's strongest parts, right? Like strongest cultural kind of contributions to the world, right? But I just think more Japanese people should be telling stories about, well, Japan. Because I swear to God, on my YouTube at least, just because I look at YouTube in English, all the videos are made by gaijin, you know? So, you know, like there's good parts, there's bad parts. Like there's anybody, you know, any culture there's no perfect culture, right? Even though Japan has a lot of good things about it, there are just a lot of things that are hurting people as well, you know, like a lot of people, like last week we were talking about like working too much, right? But then why do Japanese people work too much? I mean, maybe that's because of American monetary policies that, you know, the petrodollar. So like, I don't know. Things are a lot more complicated than just, you know, like, how do you like it, right? But for the most part, there's a lot of crazy creativity that comes out of Japan, like, you know, like we're watching in this video.
Anime I'm talking about. You'll have a list of the most
Powerful imaginations.
And you'll understand why we'll never get anything like them ever again.
But you guys know about anime. Like, you guys know all this, right?
Series that would spark a shift in anime so great, it shaped the next 2 decades. The series was called Dallos. It was totally unremarkable in terms of its story by modern standards.
I've never heard of this.
Remarkable in the way that it was released. Dallos was never shown on TV. Instead, it was immediately sent to video stores as a VHS tape, marking it as the first ever OVA.
OVA?
Original Video Animation.
Huh. Never heard of that.
Angel's Egg. After Dallos shocked all of Japan in 1983, studios quickly followed.
Huh.
So it was only 2 years later until we got this masterpiece. Set in a desolate primordial world where only a single girl wanders. All she wants is to protect this egg. She thinks it'll hatch into an angel, and maybe that'll fix the emptiness around her. But what happens when someone tries to break that egg? What happens when that egg...
Oh my gosh. Dude, I'm gonna get YouTube Prime one day or whatever it's called.
breaks. What's so gripping from Angel's Egg is its atmosphere. It's how a story with almost no dialogue, only 2 characters in an ocean of silence, can be so distinct. The setting, the ominous music, mixed with how the movie lingers on stills, builds an encompassing eerie tension that made me stew in my own thoughts until I couldn't help but be flooded with questions. It's spectacular, one of the most evocative anime I've ever seen. Something like this is only possible because it's an OVA. Now imagine for a second you tried pitching something like this to a modern production committee, and they'd look at you like you were insane. But That's the thing. OVAs weren't built for mass appeal. They weren't meant to fill airtime or rake in box office numbers, because OVA...
Oh my gosh. I swear. Every single time. So I've never heard of OVA, and I have not heard of these anime. I mean, I was not in Japan during the 80s, so I don't know much about anime at all. But here we are. We're learning, right? This is Guy News down there. Learning about Japan through some 外人が作った動画だよね、これ。違うか。なんか、訛り聞いてアメリカ人に聞こえるんだけどね。まあ、どうだろうね。実はどうだろう。まあ、okay, let's keep it going here, okay? Here we go, and back to it.
And that gave creators a rare kind of freedom to make something stranger, slower, more specific, designed for a niche audience, with no time slots to fill, no censors to please, no runtime restrictions to worry about. It was just a director's unfiltered vision. This allowed them to create such distinct works that are missing in modern anime. Which leads me to the next OVA that you might have missed, and I don't say this lightly. It might be the weirdest, most visually unhinged thing I've ever seen. Meet Cat.
Well, now, before we get into this cat thing, but like that sounds like a good idea to me, because like that unrestricted imagination, right? Like no, corporate sponsors telling you what to do, no boss telling you what to do, no time slots, no popularity. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of just like the director just kind of like makes a gamble, and whatever they sell on the VHS is what they sell. And if they sell enough, then they just keep making copies of it, right? Forever, right? So sounds kind of cool. Maybe I should start making anime. Wow. I don't know. I don't know how to draw though. So see how far that gets.
An experimental short film released in 2001. It follows the story of these two cats in particular, where this one tragically passes away, and while her soul is leaving her body, her sibling does everything he can to stop it, resulting in her soul splitting in two, which leaves his sister as a husk of her former self. So he goes on an adventure through the land of the dead to try to bring her back to how she once was. It sounds dramatic to say, but this might genuinely be one of the weirdest, most original things I've ever watched. Experiencing a surreal, dialogue-free film centered around these two characters that's filled with existential imagery of a world collapsing in on itself is not something I could have ever expected. I mean that in the best way possible. The series is a perfect example of how wildly experimental an OVA can be. It has an awkward runtime of 35 minutes, it has no dialogue, and it has these stupid looking cats as the main characters. It's the kind of thing that would never get greenlit today. Likewise, I'd be shocked if you could find a current series as unapologetically provocative as this comedy OVA masterpiece.
Golden
Now,
Boy?
Golden Boy is almost the OVA of OVAs to be watching from that older generation. It came out in 1995 with a dub that rivals the legendary titan of comedy anime dubs, Ghost Stories.
Think of a big black man chasing you!
I'm
It's
sorry.
not racist.
Golden Boy is a show that embodies the, yo, let's all get fucked up and watch this show at 3 a.m. and laugh our asses off. Its formula is simple. New episode, new job, new girl, Kentaro starts tweaking out. And usually leads to chaos and life lessons. Nothing groundbreaking here. But here's the thing, it didn't really need to be. Back then, you would get this type of joke.
You son of a...
Now, you get something along the lines of this. That's a night and day difference, and I'm not saying one's better than the other, but they do come from completely different places. It's not just about laughs, it's about what we expect from a comedy and what we're willing to laugh at. See, in the 80s and 90s, OVAs were being sold directly to fans. You had to buy the damn thing if you wanted to watch it, which means the only people watching these shows were the hardcore fucking gooners who could only think about anime titties and spending money on that shit. So, of course, studios weren't trying to hit mass appeal. The masses literally couldn't watch these things. Instead, what rose to the top were the weird, the provocative, the unforgettable. And that's why you get jokes like this.
My queen! Oh, you're so naughty!
That's comedy gold to them. Today, with anime on every streaming platform, creators are thinking broader. Anyone can watch anything, anytime, anywhere. So creators aim for a wide appeal. And because OVAs were targeted at very specific demographics, you don't see a lot of tropes you're used to in modern anime. No high school settings, no power of friendship speeches. Instead, you get stuff that's cut from a more unique cloth. And well, because of who these shows were made for, you get things like this.
When you get the kids
Yeah, there are certain things, like I've seen kind of weird anime before, and yeah, talk about like niche audience. That's one way to put it for sure. Oh gosh, I swear to God. The back to getting that fixed. But yeah, definitely some of these things, this could be the reason why I didn't really get into anime, because of all of the kind of perverted kind of stuff that's just like, I don't know, feels like a waste of time, to be honest. So
1987 that oozes style. It follows an all-female squad of mercenaries fighting corrupt megacorporations, rogue robots, and whatever else needs blowing up in a neo-lit Tokyo. And it might have the sickest opening 5 minutes I've ever seen in anime. It doesn't start with a little character introduction. It doesn't even start with a normal anime opening. It just hits you full on with a J-rock / city pop performance like a music video from a cooler timeline. It's not even an opening theme, it's just a song. Because why not? You would never get anything like that today in anime. Or how about Wicked City? Now, this one's for more real degenerates. The basic setup is this. There's a barrier between the human world and the demon world, but it's getting weaker, and demons disguised as people start leaking into the human world. And let's just say, if you take the wrong girl home from a bar, you might not be waking up. You're catching every demon STD known to man and dying with zero dignity. So it follows a stoic demon hunter and a demon woman as they're tasked with protecting this man who will restore that barrier. It's sleazy, it's stylish, it's a little fucking sexual, but I gotta be honest, there's still something cool about it. Not because of the weird sex pest energy, but because it's bold. It was made with an audience in mind that doesn't really exist anymore. An audience that wanted violence, horniness, and some of the sickest hand-drawn animation you've ever seen. Every time I saw this scene, I was like, I love this stupid car, man. Now there's one more type of OVA that we need to talk about. I'm talking about OVAs born from early hype. When a manga was so gassed out of the gate, studios couldn't wait. They just had to cash in, even if it meant rushing out tiny, half-baked adaptations way before the story was ready. Like Gunsmith Cats. It follows Rally and Minnie, two girls who run a gun shop by day and are bounty hunters by night. But here's the thing, the OVA isn't even a straight adaptation of the manga. It's an original side story. However, it's still pretty damn good. It's cute, it's fun, it's got some absolutely fire animation, and the opening looked so damn good. But when you watch it, you can feel that it's just a glimpse of what the full story could have been if it ever got a proper adaptation. Then there's also Yokohama Shopping Log, a quiet, reflective series set after humanity's decline in a post-cataclysmic world. It just follows a robot girl, living peacefully among the remnants of a fading world. It's cozy. It's slow. It's the anime equivalent of sitting on a porch with a cup of tea and watching the sunset. And it's so good precisely because it doesn't try to overdo it. There are tons of OVAs like these, early adaptations where studios bet big on a manga's potential, sometimes way too early. But that's the part of what makes them so special. Today, if a manga popped off like this, you'd expect a 13 to 25 episode full season, but back then, you might get 2 episodes in a VHS release. It would be like if someone adapted Chainsaw Man into an 8-episode OVA in 2019. Sure, this was gonna get an anime, but if you jump the gun that early, it's just too soon. That's why these early OVAs feel kinda like time capsules. They're not full adaptations. They're whispers of what could have been, snapshots of potential before the stories even fully bloomed. And if you're a fan of the original manga, these OVAs feel like little treasures.
So yeah, like I know none of these stories. I don't even know OVA. Turtle, is that Mr. Turtle there? Making lunch. Is it lunchtime over there? Well, good. I'm glad that you're here, because you gotta be listening to this story. You gotta listen to this foreigner guy explain anime to me, because honestly, I don't know about anime in detail. I have not heard about OVA, and so here we are learning together what is, well, I don't know. I was in Japan in the 90s. I'm not, so I just didn't, well, no, I went to, なんだっけな、ブックオフじゃなくて、名前あったよね。東舞鶴の本屋さんの名前が。なんだっけ。忘れた。いやー、なんだっけな。ツタヤじゃなかったよね。ブックオフか、なんだっけな、忘れた。でも、まあ、そこに行ってもわかんないじゃん。なんか何がいいかなんか全然何にも、アニメに関してもう何にもわかんない。これ見て、もうちんぷんかんぷん。
It's not just the short, rough gems that we'll never see made this way again. There's a whole other side to this lost era of anime, and that's the films. So let me talk about a story that embodies that loss of grit and is also...
I've heard of this. Oh wait, are we not moving again? Okay, hold on. Let's get this moving. I swear, there's got to be a better way to do this kind of thing, but, you know, what do I know? Okay, let's get back into it. Vampire Hunter D. How many of you heard of that? Oh my gosh. Of course. Of course, they put an ad right there.
Babies don't ever stop.
Yeah, no, this is not, I know, ads, right?
Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust follows D, a bounty hunter hired to retrieve a girl abducted by a vampire nobleman, Baron Meyer. At the same time, another group is hired for the same mission. The two parties race after Meyer, crossing deserts and wandering through swamps and breaking into invisible hideouts and clashing with shapeshifters and shadow weavers and werewolves all along the way. But the twist is, Charlotte wasn't kidnapped. She went with Meyer willingly, which throws everything into chaos. Will the bounty hunters stick with their contracts or let Charlotte live by her own choices? The straight up plot is not my real source of obsession with Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. I think it instead stems from the nuggets of an ending dedication to the minute details of the film. Its mystical creatures, its distinct character designs, its grandiose backgrounds, its elegant frames, its sweeping dynamic camera shots. It's these little details that flesh out the world and breathe all of the life into the story. And to me, the one moment that really captures that magic happens right after Dee's first encounter with the Marcus brothers. After the encounter, he rides alone into an empty desert. He dismounts from his horse, kneels by the ground, and examines faint tracks in the sand. At first, it feels quiet, still, like nothing is out there. And then you realize he's standing before a herd of sand mantas. And without hesitation, Dee leaps onto their backs, riding them across the wasteland. It's a scene that doesn't need many words. It doesn't need a fight. It's pure atmosphere, pure world building executed perfectly. And to me, that's the real beauty of Bloodlust. It's not about the flashiest fight choreo. It's not about having the most lavishly detailed backgrounds. It's about the elegance of the world itself. The quiet sense that this strange dying universe existed long before you started watching it and will keep existing after you're gone. When you see shots like this, you can almost feel the world Dee lives in. And when the film shifts from scenes like this to this, you can sense the vastness of the journey. The dedication to every detail in Bloodlust is overwhelming, and given a little more context, the story of why becomes a bit more clear. Back in 1985, there was another Vampire Hunter D movie, but compared to Bloodlust, it felt rushed, so much so that the original creator constantly criticized it. That failure lit a fire under the team behind Bloodlust, and I think it shows. Every frame feels handcrafted and deliberate, and in a way that Bloodlust would never understand. It was kind of like a farewell letter to an era. Because the truth is, anime like this only existed because of a perfect storm. A booming economy, loose censorship, and studios willing to throw cash at bizarre, risky visions. OVAs and films alike thrived in that chaos. But when Japan's economy collapsed in the 90s, the Wild West days dried up. Budget shrank, and risk tolerance disappeared. In 1994, there were 70 different OVAs. In 2024, just 5. That era is gone. And with it, a kind of anime that felt experimental, raw, and unforgettable. Sure, sparks of that energy still show up in shows like Devilman Crybaby or Cyberpunk Edgerunners, but they're rare. And maybe that's why these shows feel so special, not because they're perfect, but because they couldn't be made today. They were snapshots, strange, messy, and beautiful proof that anime once played by different rules. And now, they're waiting for someone curious enough to find them, dust them off, and remember what anime used to be capable of.
Well, so that was kind of like a nice little lesson in anime and nostalgia. Back to a better day when there was more money and more freedom and less censorship. It sounds like a golden era. What are we doing now? Right? Like you would think that right now with all this streaming and Apple TV and Netflix, that things would be better, right? And it's crazy because like I've kind of like looked at TV and you look at the anime section and I don't recognize anything. Should I? Is there something I should know about? I don't know. But it's still kind of interesting to understand the difference of mainstream versus something more niche, right? More niche. Depending on your pronunciation. So yeah, guys, like this is all interesting, but like I said, I would hope that one day you guys would get out there and actually make some more videos for me because seriously, I'm kind of getting tired of watching foreigners make videos about Japan. Seriously, like there's a lot, and maybe it's just because I'm looking in English, but at the same time, you guys can hop online, type something in English, and then you'll get, English listening, right? But it's all about things that presumably you know about, and hopefully you know about it better than, somebody like me, right? I mean, this is like your culture, right? Your history and your, like heroes and stuff like that, creative geniuses, right? So if you could explain it to Kaigai audiences, right? Like foreign audiences, like there's a lot of potential for you guys, but you got to be able to do it, right? Oh, here's a good documentary, but maybe we can get into that another time. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. It's been a good hour of listening to things in English. I hope that you enjoyed, but it really does sound like there was a better time, and I guess maybe I was in Japan during the tail end of the better time when there was lots of money and less regulation and less censorship and less worrying about, the corporate masses and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it would be great to be more uncensored, and have the freedom to imagine new and better things. But then how do you, survive in a capitalistic society, right? Especially too when AI is creating things like really easy. And so hand-drawn stuff is not getting a lot of quote unquote value, right? But I think hopefully that people are going to kind of wake up, to like AI slop and how fucking shitty it is. And more hand-drawn art is going to be appreciated again, and, hand-drawn on a computer or an iPad or on a piece of paper, whatever it is, right? But the idea being that you can create something from your imagination without censorship, without worrying about saying too much, you can say or express whatever you want, even, non-verbally, just by atmosphere, or mood, or quality of design, right? I find that super intriguing. And so like, watching anime can be an amazing experience just because a lot of what's communicated is not in language, you know what I mean? It's not in the subtitles. It's not in the English or the Japanese. It's literally in the art. So that's super interesting. But to think that like we're losing creativity or originality because, profit margins, I don't know, it's something to think about, right? But if you were able to create your own animation studio and create things so that like, well, you just have to be able to pay the rent, right? Well, then you don't need to make millions. You just need to make enough, right? And I would say with all these computers, there must be enough technology out there that you can streamline, like your production process. Like you can make the keyframes like, and then get maybe like an animation bot to fill in like the key scenes, right? But, I don't know, like that sounds like a big project that I don't have time for. Do I have time for? I don't know. Cause you guys know what I'm up to. And a lot of what I do is kind of hand colored like this. Well, I'll show you guys. I'm working on this like next, well, I already made the book. I made like a PDF, a simple book that kind of explains all the colors of the, how do you say? My color system, right? Hold on. Let me get the, and so everybody who already downloaded the app, I sent you a copy of this a few months ago. So like, but anyway, like I can hand color a lot of stuff and like, I can make stuff and it's cool or whatever, but it just takes so much time, and like, I'm not an animator and I realize that I don't have the animator's, patience to make all this, so I wish I could do more, but like I need to do it faster. Yeah. So like, I mean, I don't know, like making visual things, like I like it, but the time that it takes to do all this is just absolutely crazy. So oh my gosh, I swear to God, this machine is not keeping, or is it because I keep pressing the thing? Okay, let's just see if I can get it to work. Okay, here we go. There we go. So it's working now. So yeah, as you can see, like setting something up and like designing it, this is all fun, for me, to be honest. Like I like doing this in a sense, right? But like I wish I could do more, like I wish I could actually animate so I can like bring these things to life in a more exciting way. But as you can see, it's all visually appealing, right? But like, well, actually, maybe I can read through it. Hopefully I don't break the computer again. But like, yeah, no, it's like meant to be like, right? So we got avocado, hot, and then lingerie. You see that? So, I mean, hopefully it's, what do you call it? Self-explanatory, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't have to explain much. We got so apple, plaid, ant, and then owl, like owl, Maui, now, and we got ow to ooh, like ooze, new, shoe, and then we got ooh to like love, was, the, and then we got love to like book, sugar, wood, then we got to e, like cheese, wing, any, then we got e to like citrus, salad, women, and then we got to like emerald, many, again, then we got to a, like grape, cafe, day, and then we got a to I, like night, by, height, and then we got I to o, like potato, warm, so, and then we got o to oi, like turquoise, boy, lawyer, and then we got the silent one, like camera, business, and take. And with these colors, you can like learn all the sounds, right? It's beautiful. And I swear, I wish I could draw more and like make more, because there's so much more to do, right? Because like then you got all the consonants, right? We got Bob and cook and then duty. And you'll see that the T also makes a D, right? And then we got gag, then we got ha ha, now loyal, and then two different sounds from the L, right? We got mum, we got nothing, pop, and then Q, like Q, it says right there, it's a Q, and rare, all these S sounds, right? So we got success, and Ritz, right? All those letters make the S sound. Touched, those make the T sound. Even the D makes a T. The Volvo, Wowie, and box example, right? Because the X makes it example, not a sample, right? And then a zoos. Both of those are a Z sound, right? So can't forget thin and thin, then and thin. And then obviously, then we got these crazy sounds right here. This is the sh sound, like mission, she, and action. Different letters. You never know which one's going to have the sound, right? And then we got from the sh to j, like vision, garage, equation. And then from j to ch, like choke, cello, and future, right? And then we got ch to j. So like joke, education, and page. And finally, the y sound, like beauty, view, and you. Now, seriously, all of these colors are like exact. Like if you learn these colors, like you literally learn all of the sounds in California English, Western English. I can pull up the map again, but it would be so much cooler if like I can animate it. Not gonna lie. So if one of you knows how to animate cool things, let me know, because that would be kind of cool. Like, I don't know exactly how it could be done, in what kind of way, but like seriously, because I like look around online and I see like all these kind of like other ways to teach English, and it's like, yeah, that's boring. Like this is way more exciting. It's just that it would be even cooler if there was just like animation involved with it, So like, I don't know exactly what it would be like, but I think it would be cool. So if any of you like know how to animate things, let me know, because like that would be sweet. That would be dope. That would be so rad. I'd be so into that. It's just a matter of like teaming up with somebody that knows how to do it, knows what they're doing, So yeah, did I get that right? I got 2 of those, so I'm gonna delete that. Yeah, I mean, talk about, making a book or whatever. Like, I've seen other YouTubers, they have like a book, like, but, the Japanese corporations, I don't know if they like what I'm offering here, because if everybody was to learn English through the color system, all the other books would not sell anymore. This would be the only book that sells, because it's like the only book that literally teaches all of the sounds and gives you the blueprint on how to learn new words with the color system, because you never know which way it's going to get spelled, and like you can try to memorize all the rules, and that's just stupid. Why memorize the rules when you just memorize the colors? So anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. I hope that you guys like got some English kicking around in your brain a little bit. Hopefully you heard something that you hadn't heard before, and then hopefully you mimic something, and maybe you can actually use it in your daily life, even if it's from, like the yen collapsing and the free infinite money glitch that we learned about earlier, exchange rates and stuff like that, and loan, monetary policy, or from the anime the anime history that we just watched, and we learned about a special era of Japanese anime that was straight to video, so it didn't have a lot of TV censorship and corporate, budgets to look out for. They were just free to like let their imaginations fly, and I think that's cool. I'm a big fan of freedom. So like seeing somebody express themselves like that is always cool. It would just be cooler if there was more of it. You know what I mean? But I digress, because at the end of the day, there's a lot to talk about and there's a lot of things to worry about. But as for now, we are done. We're wrapping up. So thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it again. And hopefully, depending on the reaction of people, because a lot of times, like I did, last week I was doing or if past few weeks was the Kimi no Eigo review, ne? And I'm definitely going to be doing that. But I also want to do more kind of like more content, in the sense of like there's so much content around the world about Japan in English that I think you guys would benefit from watching, like an outsider's perspective to kind of like the same story that you guys have already heard multiple times from, the same kind of sources. You know what I mean? It's always good to kind of like get outside of yourself and see yourself in the third person in a way. And so like watching content about Japan in English is like super mind expanding, because it's all stuff that you should know if you think in Japanese, right? Like, about the lost decade or whatever they call it in English, right? So like to hear somebody explain it like that, it's like, oh, okay. It gives me a new perspective that, maybe you didn't have before. So I hope you enjoyed this little segment of the Guy news. And if anything's popping off on the news next time, I'll be doing the news again. But then if a lot of people want to do the English review, then we'll be doing the English review. So again, thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate you listening. Hopefully it's not too loud, my little microphone in here. I'm trying to get the best kind of sound quality that I can for you guys, and trying to be as like quote unquote real as possible, because like, talking like a robot sucks, and like don't want to be mumbling too much. Like there's got to be some sort of like middle ground between rambling like a normal person and presenting the language in a way that's understandable to a lot of people. But I digress, because like a lot of people that speak fluent English understand what I'm saying, all of it, right? But like if you're learning English, right, everything I'm saying might be a challenge for you, because I'm freestyling and I'm not mumbling. I don't want to say mumbling, but I'm not, this is presentation English, where I talk slowly and you understand everything because I enunciate every single word. Don't want to do that, because that's stupid. Like nobody talks like that in reality. So trying to give you like the best version of just like actual English, but with like a decent enough sound quality. And to be honest, like this mic is okay. I think it's more for like a little distance, right? But it's not about like what kind of tech you have. It's just about delivering the goods, right? And delivering the goods would be like me literally talking normally to you guys, because I know you don't have access to normal people talking normally. You have access to videos where everybody talks slow. You have access to English teachers where they teach you corporate fucking like non-existent English. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't exist outside of a classroom. So where are you going to get like a real person giving you real actual, English? And it's just like, well, I could make more content that gives you guys the real deal. But then again, you guys are busy watching, top 15 J-pop, K-pop stars, and which is fine, because that's where all the views are anyway. So, and then you see like, if you watch like the J-pop, K-pop video, you'll see, you'll hear, that like there's different ways of talking, and you got to listen to it. And you don't have the luxury of subtitles when you're in reality. You got to be able to listen to somebody and understand what they're saying without looking, and so you watch the top 15, and you can hear the progression of kind of like ability, in the sense of like there's people that don't practice, and there's people that practice, and then there's native speakers, that they don't really practice, they just use it, they're just doing it, so in those kind of three states of like somebody that doesn't fucking give a shit about their English, then from somebody that does give a shit about their English to somebody again that doesn't give a shit because they're native, right? But there's three kind of different levels there. Hopefully you guys give a shit about your English and you're doing something about it, and the way you do something about it is by listening to native speakers talk normally, and then you mimic that, and that's it, and that's all you do every single day. And then you kind of start like mimicking the words that you're actually going to use in your life. And then you get better at saying the things that you actually say in your life, like whatever it's going to be. Like if you're using English at work, then hopefully you're going to get better at using English at work. Like I met a student of mine when I was in Kyoto, and he worked at a hotel. And I was like, oh my God, like my course should be really good for you, like, oh, so where are you going to go today? Right? Like, oh, what are you going to do today? Like, oh, what'd you do yesterday? Like super simple questions so that you could be asking people, as they come to your hotel, right? Did they enjoy their experience or not? So anyway, I digress, because like, I don't know how you're going to use English in your life. There's so many different ways. And like, part of me is like, oh, I want to focus on, the famous people aspect. But then I see so much content about, Japan in English. It's like, oh, I want to make content about that too. So here we are making a little Guy news. But again, I digress. We'll see what the reaction is to everybody. And if you guys want more news kind of thing, then we'll do more news kind of things. But then if you guys just like the whole English review kind of thing, then we can do more of that too. But again, it's kind of up to you guys. And I'm trying to find like a nice little common ground for everybody to meet, because I want to make sure that on a Sunday morning, it's not about view count. It's the you count. It's because you're here. It's because you're listening. And I'm giving my attention, because if I do a normal video, you guys aren't here. You guys don't listen like everything that I do, every single decision I make when I make a video, But this is a live stream because it's an interaction. So it is all about you. In like, even if there's 5 people or 50 people here, it's still about your guys' quest to become bilingual, right? So if you have any comments, go ahead and leave a comment below when this video is done. Let me know, and I will do something about it one way or the other. If it's a good enough idea, I will look into it more. But again, I appreciate you guys coming out. So this is where I say goodbye. This is where you go have a good day. This is maybe where you go outside and look at the sun and puffy white clouds if they're out there in Tokyo today. And maybe, hopefully, you go and talk to somebody and you have a good conversation with somebody new. I mean, I remember when I made a video in Kyoto with 2 kohai, and we had this like nice fun little shoot. It was getting late too, so I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm going home. And I talked to them later, and they had met other people, other English speakers right after we separated, and they went out and did karaoke all night. And they're like, well, look at that. You get outside and you meet somebody new and you have a new experience, and good for you, So get out there, talk to somebody new, talk to somebody new, and then make a friend, or make an acquaintance. You don't have to make friends, but you can make a shiriai, ne? Make an acquaintance. So anyway, I'm out of here. So Mr. Turtle, thanks for coming by. And then Yamada-san, yeah, Japanese society, like I said, the freedom of imagination from certain individuals is amazing. Like absolutely amazing. But then again, the bureaucracy of Japan is stifling. So, and then Desi, maybe I'll see you at Phil's one of these days soon. Still resting my shoulder. So anyway, guys, take it easy. Have a good one. And yeah, talk to you soon.